Hi, I'm Dr. Betty Robin, an attorney, dentist, and practice cell broker from Orange County, California. I've been in the practice transition field for over 25 years now. This is my second podcast on what I'm calling Straight Talk, where I give you my opinion on issues affecting your dental practice. And that's all it is, my opinion. I got a question emailed to me last week about my opinion on dental management consultants. In fact, this person asked me specifically about someone I don't know. But today, I'm going to tell you guys in general what I think about management consultants. And if you want to send me a question, you can do so through our website at dentistryrising.com or directly to my email at drrobin@bettyrobin.com. Remember, I'll answer these questions in a podcast format and may rephrase them somewhat to make them as helpful to as many people as possible. Okay, let's get going. Dental consultants are always hitting me up for referrals, since I'm in contact with a lot of you younger dentists buying practices who can very likely use a consultant. And some consultants do practice evaluations for practice purchases for free or at a very low cost to buyers, just to meet you guys. Think I sound skeptical? Well, maybe I am just a bit, but just about some people or companies. In general, I'm a huge fan of consultants. I'll just say it. I became very successful as a dentist solely due to consultants. I started my first practice from scratch in Rancho Cucamonga, California, for one of the reasons I tell you to avoid at all cost. I hated my associate job. Actually, I hated all 7 of them. And I kept changing jobs thinking one job was going to be better than the last, but it wasn't. So after finding a space and building out an office, an expensive endeavor, I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue about pretty much anything that goes on in a dental office. I sort of knew how to do dentistry since I learned that at Loma Linda and through my 7 jobs, but that was about it. Fortunately, my very good friend from dental school, who I commiserated with several times a week, was in the same predicament I was. She hated her associate job and just had struck out on her own. Thanks to her and her knowing the field of dental consultants even existed, I took the plunge and hired the same person she did just a couple weeks later. And it was a big plunge. I had to go to the bank and get a loan just to pay the consultant, since she required a contract paid in advance, which we're going to talk about that later. Now, despite my naivety and blind faith, and thanks to my friend's research, I ended up hiring a fabulous person. So yes, a resounding yes, I believe in consultants. Let me tell you just how much I believe in consultants. I went from $15,000 a month. Well, even that might have be an exaggeration. Sometimes it was only $12,000 a month to over $100,000 a month in 1 year's time. I did this solely because of my first consultant. I know all of you will want to know who she is, and her name is Shirley Wilkinson. Before I met her, she was with the Pride Institute and recently had gone out on her own. But unfortunately for you guys, she's now retired. However, I had seen the light and realized how much easier everything was when I didn't try to reinvent the wheel and when I listened to someone who knew what they were doing. I went on to hire Jan Lazarus, who completely opened my eyes on perio, and then Andrea Klassen, who is excellent with verbal skills and developing a higher end and more sophisticated practice. Lucky for you guys, those 2 are still in business. And I just did a podcast with Andrea, which will be out soon. And no, I don't get paid anything for a referral. She just did a great job for me. So there are great people out there. You just have to find them. And I'll give you some idea how to do that in a few minutes. So what's the secret once you hire a consultant? Here it is. Do anything and everything they tell you to do. Let me repeat that. Do anything and everything they tell you to do. So first, determine what you want. You may not be completely clear on that at the beginning, but get as clear as you can, then continue to communicate with your consultant as time goes on. For me, it was literally a matter of survival at the beginning. Later on, I wanted to go towards a more refined practice. Second, after you determine your goals, communicate them to your consultant and give them their marching orders. Make it happen. Most of them can get you where you want to go if you'll just listen and do what they say. Try it their way. Thirdly, plan on paying them a hefty sum of money. There is also value in this, I think, since most of us tend to pay attention to whatever we spend a lot of money on. It's just human nature. So if you do those 3 things, you'll very likely get the results you want. Now, here's what I think you should consider when looking for a consultant. Number 1, I generally prefer individual consultants over big companies. I like someone who takes a real, genuine, and financial interest in your practice and your future and you. Number 2, I'd like you to not have to sign a contract, or at least be able to get out of it if you want to. Say with 30 days notice at most, in case things aren't working out. I think it just keeps everyone honest. Number 3, I think your consultant should be local to you, probably within an hour or two drive at most, unless you're hiring someone just for a specific or limited purpose. Number 4, I think the consultant should have a dental background. Most commonly, you'll find people that were long-term front desk employees or practice managers. I think it's very helpful for them to truly understand how a practice functions and the pain points in growth. Number 5, I think the consultant should be in the dental consulting field for at least 10 years and probably have coached at least 50 clients. The more they've seen and dealt with, the better. Number 6, I think the consultant should see you in your own office environment, at least most of the time. I mean, it's fine to have off-site training meetings now and then, but the consultant needs to see how you and your staff function on a regular basis. Number 7, I like consultants that give you a clear to-do list after each meeting, and also take the time to recap the day with you before they leave or over dinner. You need to know what they think, and you need to know what you need to accomplish before your next meeting. It can be things like hiring an additional staff member, implementing new software, taking certain CE classes, etc. And number 8, I think you should meet with your consultant probably monthly, but at least quarterly. The more you want to accomplish in a short period of time, the more often you should meet. So when looking for a practice coach, I think you should make sure the consultant is focused on the kind of practice you want to have. Some consultants focus on purely private practices, some on HMO practices, some on PPO, etc. Also, some consultants focus on different aspects of a practice, so make sure they generally address the problems you have. For example, some focus on hygiene, just as I told you I'd hired Jan Lazarus for. And some focus on collections, billing, getting new patients, etc. I'd also like you to talk to 3 to 4 people the consultant has worked for in the last year. Note, I did not say read testimonials. I said talk to people they have worked with. Make a list of several questions you want to ask each person. Like, were their general goals met? Was the consultant able to help meet them? I mean, this is not a friendship. It's a business relationship with distinct goals that need to be accomplished. If your consultant requires a contract, Get the contract and read every single line at least a few days before signing it. Ask about anything you don't understand. Cross out or modify what you don't agree with. Add anything the consultant verbally agreed to that isn't in the contract. Remember, if it isn't in writing, it didn't happen. You might want to have an attorney read the contract also before you sign it. Now, I think we all need coaches in life for areas which we really want to succeed in. It could be a business coach, fitness coach, practice management coach, life coach, or whatever. But in my opinion, coaches help a lot, and I'm really a fan. Thank you for listening to the second episode of Straight Talk. And if you like this, please subscribe to Dentistry Rising on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you again.